1 week before the Atlanta DA started targeting Lil Baby for Rico charges, reporters caught up with him outside of an airport.
How you doing, Lil Baby? Lil Baby. Lil Baby, how's Young and Young Thug doing? I know all the circumstances. Just want to see how they holding up good? Sure. All right. Love what you're doing, man.
Now, shortly after this, there was paperwork leaked in the Atlanta DA's office revealing very concerning information on 4PF and Lil Baby. As reported by DJ Akademiks, Lil Baby, as well as members of 4PF, are next on the Atlanta DA's Rico list. Very similar to how YSL and Young Thug were raided and arrested for Rico charges, Lil Baby is now next on the list.
An in-depth investigation. Recent months, you've had 2 high-profile racketeering cases. There are going to be more.
Over the next 60 days, you'll see 2 more.
Now, after this was broadcasted on the live news, it didn't take long for Lil Baby's reaction to be released on social media. As Lil Baby tweeted, "I'm trying to start an investment group for the young millionaires. We can run the world if we play it right." As someone replied, "Man, you better be looking out for that Rico that everyone be talking about." With Lil Baby replying, "Only God can judge me." Now, shortly after she did that interview on live television, this is when paperwork was released revealing the next rap group that will be targeted by the Atlanta DA, otherwise known as Fani Willis. Fani Willis revealed 2 more rap groups that will be arrested under Rico charges that are all based out in the Atlanta area. One group being from a top artist in the game, with the second being an average sized artist who is allegedly 22 Gs. Now, with YSL already being taken down, sources told DJ Akademiks that the streets are saying that Lil Baby and 4PF are next on the list. This is making people believe that Young Thug and some of the 28 members arrested with YSL actually ratted on Lil Baby and 4PF. Now, YSL and 4PF are really close with each other. Members from each group tend to do work with each other, record music with each other, and a lot of street stuff are connected between the 2 camps. Even Lil Baby and Young Thug, 2 leaders of both groups, are best friends and have been for many years. As Young Thug even paid Lil Baby at the start of his rap career to stay in the studio and off of the streets. Now, they've had ties for a very long time. Lil Baby's been very quiet ever since the night of May 9th, when the famous YSL mansion, housing YSL kingpin Young Thug alongside 28 members of YSL, were arrested and raided on a 56-count indictment in Fulton County. The 56-count grand jury indictment charged 28 members and associates of Young Slime Life, otherwise known as YSL. The indictment includes charges of conspiring to violate the racketeer, influence, and corrupt organizations known as the Rico Act, as well as armed robbery and participation in criminal street activity. This is when News TV captured exclusive images of authorities taking Young Thug into custody when he was arrested. Now, as described on the day of their arrest, prosecutors say that YSL is a criminal street team that started in late 2012. In the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta, YSL claims affiliation with the National Red, and YSL's founders were Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, aka Slime, then Walter Murphy, and Trontavious Stevens. Young Thug was originally arrested due to him being accused of renting a 2014 Infiniti Q50 sedan from Hertz, which was used in the commission of the passing of Donovan Thomas Jr., a rival street member, on January 10th of 2015. The Atlanta DA claims that they have very secure evidence on Young Thug to arrest and lock him up for a very long time under Rico charges. Now, this is when the 28 other members of YSL that were arrested also heard the news of how much evidence the prosecutors truly have. Now, this is when some snitching started going on in the courtroom. Just as you thought things couldn't get worse for Young Thug and Lil Baby, this was announced at the latest court hearing.
He's the one directing traffic. He is the one they're all afraid of. He's the one that's king slime. He is the most dangerous of the 28, Judge. And I implore you not to grant him a bond. He is dangerous. If he gets a burner, Judge, and the court may know this, a lot of the communications that Mr. Williams is on FaceTime, because it's not traceable, it's not trackable. Judge, I will also say that we have taken proffers from fellow from Mr. Williams. Some are on this indictment, some are not. They have stated uniformly that Mr. Williams is dangerous. They are afraid of him, that if they cross him, he will them and their family. And they were very clear about that.
Concerns that this court has is danger to persons and to intimidate other witnesses and obstruct the administration of justice. So and for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time.
Now, prosecutors revealed that a few members of the 28 arrested are now creating proffer deals with the feds. Members of YSL that were snitching to the prosecutors gave them more and more evidence and information on Young Thug in exchange for a lesser prison sentence for themselves. And as mentioned earlier, with how close YSL and 4PF are, with many members of each camp doing work with each other in the streets, there is little to no surprise that Lil Baby's name was now brought up in this entire Rico case. As ever since the snitching in the YSL case happened, this is when 4PF hit the Atlanta DA's radar, making many believe that the members of YSL that are snitching also do work inside of 4PF. It was also announced in the courtroom that Young Thug and his YSL associates are responsible for over 50 passings of rival street members with active instances of firearm use in the public. The Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis spoke with the Atlanta news station, adding the indictment reportedly includes allegations of 3 passings and dozens more. One passing that Young Thug is tied to is the identified as Donovan Thomas Jr. As mentioned, Young Thug is accused of renting the 2014 Infiniti Q50 sedan that was used in the Thomas passing. As Fannie adds, Thomas's passing is extremely significant. Willis said, it occurred back in 2015. What myself and any law enforcement member can tell you is a result of the back and forth firearm use. Many passings have occurred. There has probably been about 50 since the year 2015. This is from the back and forth between YSL versus other street teams. With Young Thug having all of this evidence stacking up against him, and then Lil Baby now being on the radar for Rico, it wasn't until May 23rd when Young Thug and Lil Baby's other best friend Gunna was denied bond once again after prosecutors claimed in court that he holds a command role among YSL. With Gunna, Young Thug, and Lil Baby all being 3 best friends within the industry for the longest time now, it's not crazy to think they do more than just create music. As prosecutors appeared in court alongside Gunna in Fulton County during a bond hearing. During the hearing, prosecutors spelled out why the rapper should remain behind bars until his trial, as prosecutors paint him as a key member in the YSL organization. The judge ultimately agreed, and Gunna's trial date was set for next year. As journalist Jewel Wicker was present during the hearing and reported on the event via Twitter. She says, a judge denied bond for Gunna and set his trial date for January 9th, 2023. She posted, prosecutors allege that YSL is a street team, not just a record label. They also allege that Gunna serves in a command role. In a follow-up tweet, she added, prosecutors said Gunna is a documented team member and that he and Williams would direct their troops to commit acts. The judge said his biggest concern was witness tampering. Gunna's attorney can file a renewed motion for bond at a later date. Now, if Young Thug's group YSL is found guilty of 50 passings with Young Thug being involved, he will be serving life within prison. Now, same goes for Gunna, as he does hold a command role. It was documented that law enforcement will be going through Gunna's cell phones, laptops, and any devices he owns to gain information. This is why Lil Baby is next on the Atlanta DA's list, as not only is he best friends with Gunna and Young Thug, constantly hanging out, but both of their groups are connected and mixed together and from the same area. This is why prosecutors are now going after Lil Baby. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on it and don't forget to subscribe.